Hello there and welcome to round 2 of Global Formula Automobilista here at the Argentine Grand Prix. As you can see, taking a second pole position in a row is our championship leader and race 1 winner Nick Heidfeld for Hightech Petronas, taking a storming lead here, especially as in second place is Kamui Kobayashi again. So looking good for the blue team. David Brabham takes third for Polestar and Bertrand Gachot also in Polestar. A team having made the first drivers on the grid here, having made the upgrade to high downforce already for round 2, so impressive stuff there from the Polestar guys. Jenson Button is 5th for Harvey Racing, another team that's gone up to high downforce, which if you can see the back of the rear wing, you've got some extra parts up in front of the wheel. Contrast this to the DTK of Chris Hoy in 6th, who's still got the low downforce, or well, yeah, low downforce, not ultra low. He's in 6th, retired from the lead last time out, he'll help to do better. Jim Clark takes 7th for Siggy Pop, ahead of Lewis Hamilton in the Cass Racing team. 9th place is Alain Prost, ahead of Sebastian Vettel in 10th. He also wants to get his first points of the season, having retired last time out. Perez is 11th for Bangalore, so much better start for this team they've had in, well, a long time actually. Valentino Rossi takes 12th for Siggy Pop, ahead of Sterling Moss in the Red Knight. Schumacher is 14th, so both Bangalore is in the top 15, and Nigel Mansell 15th for George GP, Banjo 16th, and Villeneuve in 17th for Bravera, Dan Gurney in 18th as Excelsior look to expunge their demons of the last Argentine Grand Prix, Sophia Flörsch for the defending champion team in 19th, ahead of Damon Hill in 20th for Jaws. Phil Hill takes 21st, defending champion Verstappen in 22nd, hoping for a much better race than last time. Ahead of Felix da Costa in the DTK in 23rd. Leclerc is 24th for Bad Rain, who missed the upgrade window. Beloff is 25th, ahead of Mika Hakkinen in the 2K F1. Taki Inoue is, well, frankly out of position in 27th, so he should have an entertaining race carving through the field. Senna takes 28th, Watson 29th, and rounding out the back of the grid is Jean Alesi. So the cars all line up on the grid, ready to go. At the back you can just see Newey getting into position, Watson getting into position, and I think we are nearly there. We'll just wait for the last car to slip in. Ready, and lights are out and we are go!
Yellow flag.
So, Harvard comes across to try and cover from Kobayashi. Instead of a sweeping fast behind her, run to the intersection, a big hairpin. Kobayashi ran the outside of Heidfeld. Kobayashi going to take the lead. He is. So, Heidfeld slots into second ahead of Gachot. As Brabham's also dropped back. Hoy under pressure for Clark, but actually starting to have a look at Button now for 5th. As they go through this first infield section. Looks like Button's taking 5th and he's going to keep it there. As we look back as Perez is having to defend for Sterling Moss is up to 10th, he's already up 3 places. A good start from Moss as Patel's lost some positions. Back Ranson's up, Villeneuve's up a little bit. Gurney's under pressure there for Banjo to his home race, and we have a car going slow at the back. Who's lost some time? It's Senna. Senna's winning a bunch of cars, so looks like Inoue's gone a bit sideways. Possibly Clerk and Senna have gone off, and Senna's stalled it, rejoining the track. Felix da Costa's already down 29th. Perez is up a few, and Inoue's already up to 24th. So that's how that start's gone for those guys, but as we head further towards the front, most these guys in the positions they are, apart from a little bit of shuffling at the front, so as we head into the slower chicane, the Senna S's compared to what we had last year. For the first season in the Global Formula Automobilista, there's a bit more of a longer run to the final hairpin, so Kobayashi is going to lead as we get round the end of the first lap. First 70 laps, I think that's Hoy there having a look at Button. Hoy with a lower downforce and slightly more power, I think, than De Harvey. No, not as much power, but low downforce is going to mean that Hoy's going to be quicker down the straights. So Hoy up to 5th. Yes, so we have Kobayashi leading from Heidfeld and Gasho, Brabham 4th, Hoy 5th, Hart, Button, Clark, Frost, Set, Vettel, Hamilton, Perez, Moss and Rossi side by side. Maps are trying to follow through. Villeneuve, Schumacher, Gurney, Fangio, Flörsch, Hill, Beloff, Inoue, Verstappen, Hakkinen, Alesi, Leclerc, Damon Hill, who's dropped back a bit, Watson, Felix da Costa and Senna quite a way back. Back to the front, so Heidfeld's got half a second from him to Kobayashi and him back to Gasho as well. So a second covers the top 3 as we're midway through the second lap. What can Gasho do in the pole star? Well, he's got a good run there on Heidfeld, but the straight isn't really long enough. Oh, this is actually a tap. Gasho's going to tap Heidfeld and try and get up the inside in the centre S. It's not going to work because he's got the outside line for the second part, and Brabham's going to try and fly through on the exit. If Brabham gets close to his teammates, is this going to give Hoy a chance to zip past the 3 of them? Well, he's going to try and at least get past one of them. That's the plan as it is. Hoy's going to pull to the inside. He's going to try and get him on the brakes. He won't have the downforce to do it, but he's up the inside of Brabham. He's actually up the inside of Gasho as well. He's going to try and get past both pink cars in one straight and one corner. He's got the inside line for the next part, but Gasho's got the grip. And actually, he's going to slow down and hold Hoy up. Brabham gets the slide. His next part of the infield is the left-hander, and Hoy's going, but Brabham sticks it up the inside. David Brabham manages to wrest the position back from Chris Hoy using superior grip of that extra downforce to help him down the straights. But all of this has allowed Heidfeld to escape from Gasho, and Kobayashi also to streak ahead even more thanks to that tap. The top 5 splitting away, there's a tiny gap emerging there between Vettel and Clark. And Clark close that up, he probably will at least try, I suppose. Prost is flying through. And Hamilton down to 11th, so not great to start there from the CAS car. It's actually his teammates really working his way up. Yeah, already up 5 places in 22nd, so Inoue is going to be the man on the move, I think, this race. Gets nice helicopter shots towards the back of the grid. Felix da Costa's got past Hakkinen somewhere. So, Kobayashi leads from Heidfeld. Gasho's managed to close the gap up, so Heidfeld's not had the greatest final sector there compared to everyone else around him. And Hoy is closing in on Brabham. Not quite got enough though. In the first section of corners. But he's close to Brabham. He's still quick through the corners, even though he doesn't quite have the grip. If Brabham keeps taking dodgy lines like that, well, Hoy's going to find a way through eventually. So Kobayashi, of course, retired from the last race with brake failure. He's going to hope that he can actually make it to the end of this race, and if he finishes where he currently is in first place, that would be quite useful. Got a bit of a gap emerging in the back of the grid between Fangio. So Inoue has managed to make his way to the front because Phil Hill has crashed into Stefan Beloff, it would seem. So this is down into turn 3. Oh, Hill has just braked too late and pile drive into the back of Beloff. I don't know what Beloff did to deserve that, but no, he probably didn't deserve that, to be honest. Oh, that is poor driving from Phil Hill. That is pretty awful, I've got to say. So Hill now holding up as there's contact there from Damon Hill. As Beloff's going to fall back, and we've also got a lazy, and is that Verstappen without a rear wing? It is! Has he done the same thing? No, he's done it. Oh, he's done it into turn 1. Right, so Inoue's gone up the inside of Verstappen, and a lazy has used Verstappen as a brake. Well, 4 teams having a disaster in a couple of laps. And this title defence for Verstappen is a joke, really. It's not a defence at all at the moment. So Hoy here on Brabham, he's definitely getting close. He's within half a second. He can keep it good down this straight, get a good exit. He might not have the power, but he's got the lower drag, which will help him. It's closing. He's closing. Hoy's pulling out. He's going to have a go at the inside of Brabham again. Got the inside line. Brabham's going to have the grip round the outside. He sweeps back through. So Hoy hasn't got a position yet. And Button isn't able to keep up with Hoy though, which is allowing Clark and Patel to catch up towards him now. Ross is falling back. There's another gaggle of cars just approaching behind them. As we're onto the back straight, this is where Hoy's going to pick some speed back up. I mean, just look at the time in the bottom left, so he's made up at least a tenth down there. But now he's had to lift the Ascari corner, which, well, I'll have to watch next lap, but Brabham might not have had to lift it, or whatever happened, Hoy lost time through the Ascari turn, but Brabham didn't. So that's going to be something to note. So that obviously isn't the point where you can make up time. So we go. So Verstappen, Alesi, Beloff and Hill have all made their pit stops now. Miles away from Senna. I don't think they're going to have pitted early enough to not have to pit again. So they've probably all still got 2 stops left. Always a bit further back on Brabham this lap, so this isn't going to be the time that the move is made. As up front, the Hightechs are just happily pulling away, it seems. The Polestars have got the grip, but they haven't got the power. There's a bit of a difference in tactics. Hightech went for a power upgrade since the last race, and Polestar went for a downforce upgrade. Both are working, but at the moment, Hightech, they've got the high ground, you know. Polestar have clearly underestimated their power, and well, so far they're a bit stuck, but 3rd and 4th is not a bad place to finish, and who knows, you know. Squeak bum time is still a thing, and Hightech are definitely still quite susceptible to squeaky bum time as it stands. I think we'll just fall back to the pack a bit, have a look at what's happening below the points. So Dan Gurney for Excelsior actually up into 15th and scoring a point. Villeneuve's down and Flörsch is up to 17th. Schumacher's dropped back to 18th. Fangio, the homeboy, down, and Inoue already up to 20th, so he's doing good. There's a bit of a gap starting to form back to Damon Hill in 21st, and Watson with Leclerc, Felix da Costa, Hackman, Senna all starting to fall back. Well, Senna's fallen back early, he's starting to catch up to Hackman. There's a gap forming there. Hill is completely in no man's land. Beloff has got a lazy-ish behind him. And Verstappen is staring at being lapped. One of the first drivers to be lapped, 2nd race running, which is not the way that you want to defend your title. So, Hoy's still not able to get close to Brabham, but he's still closer to Brabham than Button is to him, which I suppose is what he wants to hear. I think the back of the 17th is looking quite spicy, judging by that. Yes, because Schumacher's got past Flörsch somewhere. So Flörsch has had a go at Villeneuve here for 16th. And Schumacher's just swept around the outside. Flörsch has got the inside line of turn 2. Schumacher on the outside, he's held it around the kink. It means he's got the inside for turn 3. He's just run Flörsch out of road, and Fangio decided to have a fight back, but it's not really enough. I would expect this Cas car to come flying through. He has got 2nd most powerful car on the grid, so there's no way that was super close to Fangio on the inside there. But he can't keep it going through the kink. The only thing holding him up at the moment. Through the chicane, it's a bit wobbly. So, up ahead, Gurney's looking a bit feisty. He's got Villeneuve for company behind, so expect something to maybe happen in the next lap or so. So just keep an eye on this lot. So Schumacher in 17th, he's down 3 from where he started. Gurney's actually under pressure here from Villeneuve. Villeneuve's probably too far back for a lunge. Fangio really under pressure from Newey, but despite the massive power difference between the two cars, which is substantial, it's 0.07, still can't quite make the move though. Isn't happening. Now, I have just noticed on the track map up ahead that, yes, so Kobayashi is happily disappearing off into this for Heidfeld, but Gasho was streaked away from Brabham now and starting to put pressure on Heidfeld. Brabham is falling back to protect himself over Hoy, who is actually falling into the clutches of Button now. Button also on the high downforce, clearly able to keep up with Hoy through the corners, despite Hoy's obvious prowess through the turns. See how this goes. Hoy's probably safe in that with his low downforce and power output. Troy finds actually Button makes a mistake with the centre S. And Clark is looking a bit interested. So Button's lost some time and Clark's thinking maybe this is my opportunity to get through. So we'll stick with the City Pop. He heads down straight. Button's probably pulled away a bit too much there. City Pop also having gone for the high downforce upgrades after this. And actually Fattel's up the inside of Clark there through turn 1. Helms in turn 2 is going to have the outside for 3, and unless he can brave it around there, Clark's probably going to push him off. He's going for it. He's got his nose ahead. Clark gets a bit sideways. And Clark's still at the inside for 4. Tells her to swing on the outside, but Clark keeps it through the chicane, and Vettel takes it into wherever that next corner number is. I know it's called turn number 8 or whatever that is in Spanish, but it definitely isn't turn 8. I don't know, unless 8 is actually 6 in Spanish. Who knows? Well, the answer is not me, obviously. So Hoy and Brabham is probably what we're looking for. Fattel, what can Fattel do? Is he going to catch up to Button and pass him, or is it missing 2 more holding them back, or is Button going to try and get past Hoy as soon as he can? Well, I mean, obviously he's going to try and get past him as soon as he can, but is he going to get past him soon? That's I suppose the thread we're looking for here. And Button a bit dodgy on that exit curve again, and he's letting Hoy just disappear down the next straight. So looking back from Brabham, as you can see, we've got a lot more aero flicks on the side of the rear wing in front of it, which is exemplified this high downforce setup, which Hoy doesn't have. So Hoy's going to blast past up the inside. Brabham again though on the outside line. Is that going to be enough to hold it? Hoy, yes it is. He's got the traction. And Hoy can't do anything, but this is pulling them away from the Harveys behind. So I think we'll ride on board here with Brabham if we go down the next straight. So Hoy's going to catch up down here. But we need to listen out. Is David Brabham flat through the Ascari corner? He is. Now the last time we were on board with Hoy had to lift through there and he lost so much time. All the time he gained down the straight just evaporated straight away. So, and it's good news for Brabham is that there's only one straight Hoy is closer. And the other straight he's completely safe. So Perez is up to 10th here now. And he's holding a massive train involving Hamilton and Rossi and Moss and Mansell and Gurney and Villeneuve and Schumacher and Flourish and Inoue and Fangio and almost Hill. Oh, the other hill, Damon Hill. There's 2 hills, that gets annoying. So Perez is definitely corking the ball, but Hamilton has got so much more power than the Bangalore. If he can get through, it will release everyone and, well, they should release Hamilton. Hamilton, look at him, he's streaking up behind Perez. He sends it up the inside. Oh, it's Hamilton. Has he got grip up the inside? I mean, we've seen from Hoy and Brabham that the outside line there's still grip, but no. Hamilton sides his way through up into 10th, relegating Perez back into 11th. So can Hamilton streak away? He's got the power advantage. And, well, Rossi's next. Rossi's next to give this lot a go. But that gap now, Hamilton's got 4 seconds to make up to Prost, so Perez has really held them back. There's some good defensive driving, although it's ruined the times of the guys that are stuck behind him. Prost is definitely in no man's land compared to these guys, but because Perez is even slower, he's quite comfortable in 9th there. Clark and Asidi Pocker sat behind both Harveys thinking, what can I do? Button now, can he get his line through the centre S right, or is he going to screw up the exit? No, that seemed quite good, but Hoy, who has actually dropped back from Brabham, who was starting to catch up towards Gasher, so Hoy's not had the best of laps there. Actually, it's Vettel on Button is probably our closest battle out of this lead pack. I can see further back that Perez is being shuffled down the pack here. So into the centre S, Rossi has gone up the inside of Perez and really pushed him wide. He's got to the chicane first, but his line and exit has been awful. Moss on a much better line is going to sit in the slipstream with Perez. Is he going to dive to the inside? He does. Moss goes up the inside, and Mansell also thinks, I might have a go with this. But no, he doesn't. He slips in behind in the slipstream. Slightly more power in the jaws and with a better exit. He could be onto the money here. As Mansell tries to get the inside, but Perez is going to hold it around the outside. And unless Mansell can keep it there, I think this is probably still going to be Perez's corner. He's got the inside line for turn 3, but he's had an awful turn 2. So Mansell's going to try and force it around the outside. It's not going to work. Gurney down 15th is quite happy to follow along. And he'll give it a go soon. Villeneuve is sat waiting for the chaos to unfold in front of him and him to capitalise. If there is engine power to play around, they go big lift from Moss, for example. Although that's for example, Felix da Costa, that's a massive lift. When we know that David Brabham up front was quite happy. His centre's actually dropped back somehow from this lot. Max Verstappen here, having a battle with Jean Lazy to be last, or sorry, not last. I'm sure this is something he's absolutely thrilled about having to deal with. Yeah, it's not gone great again, has it? Kobayashi nearly 3-second lead as Heidfeld set the fastest lap, not last time but the lap before. So Heidfeld's on a charge here, but he's probably lost too much to Kobayashi for the moment. He's just going to have to hope that strategy helps him, or squeaky bum time allows him to get through, but for the moment it's quite safe. Gasher was third and Brabham seems to have fended off Hoy for the moment, or Hoy's starting to give up on the charge for the moment. Button's got Vettel behind him, protecting from Clark. Prost in 9th and Hamilton out 10th and just starting to pull away actually as Moss has got past Rossi now, up into 11th. And Perez now is going to start falling back down the pack since lack of engine power is going to start hobbling him down straight, so everyone's going to take their turn to try and get past. Gurney has got more power than Mansell's got more power than Perez, so we'll see how that goes as Villeneuve is now sat out the points hoping to get through. And Flörsch would absolutely love to get NLE their first points of the season. So yeah, let's talk about points I suppose, as we can have a look. Inoue is now up to 19th. Just go back to the front. So 15 places to score points, and incredibly we managed to get 11 teams across the line in the points last time out in Brazil. So there's only 4 teams on the grid left who haven't scored points yet. Those teams are Falcon, where you'll see Prost is sat in 9th. Senna came close in 16th. Obviously didn't get points, and Prost retired with brake failure. NLE Motorsport, well, NLE was just a nightmare in Brazil. Fleury is going to start 17th and really is their only hope of points. Verstappen isn't going to score points unless something mental happens. Pardon me. DTK Racing had double DNF when Hoy was quite comfortably in the lead. Felix da Costa was absolutely nowhere. Hoy's currently sat 5th. That's kind of a position DTK will take at the end. And Excelsior, another team that double DNF, who really could do with something a lot better happening. So, what we've got up front? So, Vettel and Button are still quite close there, 6th and 7th. The Harveys are probably under instruction to not do anything stupid with each other, just work together to catch up to Hoy, although now they've stopped battling, Hoy has started to leave Button for dust, so that tactic seems to be working at the moment for Hoy. His Button's probably going to be having to deal with the fact that his teammates in his mirrors more than anything else. Because actually, yes, Vettel is less than 2/10 behind Button. To go into the hairpin, exit from here into the biggest overtaking spot of turn 1. As Clark is actually sitting pretty close behind. He's going to get a good view of this. Vettel is close, but it's his teammates who is not going to do anything stupid up the inside. I'm not going to do the lunge yet. Clark is thinking, I'll just get these points for Siggy Pop and do what we can. Harvey currently sat 3rd in the Constructors' Championship, so they can do anything they want really, and it's really helpful because they're joint 3rd with Bad Rain. Yeah, well, they're set 29th and 23rd currently, so Harvey looking to disappear from Bad Rain for the moment. Bad Rain obviously struggling to get components across from Italy because they weren't able to bring the upgrades to the car between the Brazilian and Argentinian Grand Prix, so hopefully for their home race next round they'll have a much newer car and maybe they're just saving for a massive upgrade there. So I thought that Lewis Hamilton, once he got past Perez, would disappear up the road and catch up to Prost, but that hasn't happened. And actually Sterling Moss is right on his bumper and could make a move actually down this next straight because Hamilton was pretty awful with the chicanes. Actually Moss up the inside at the hairpin. I was expecting this to be down into turn 1, but Moss has got side by side. The power of the CAS has got him past though, as the Red Knight is struggling and he's in the slipstream. It's not enough, so no, Hamilton has got the legs on Moss to keep him going down the straight, but Moss is looking pretty racy through the corners, and if there's an opportunity he'll take it. In the background I think there was Inoue and Villeneuve going side by side. It is so Villeneuve getting very slidey through 3, and that's allowed Inoue to properly take the position up ahead. So Inoue now up to 16th and 27th on the grid, so 11 places already made up on that 16. So good work for Inoue. He's definitely, unless something cruel and ironic happens, he's definitely going to be playing around in the points later. Villeneuve now having dropped back a little bit. He's actually a long way behind in a way, and that's holding Fleury up. Mansell is now the one stuck behind Perez, who's, well, Rossi's disappeared now, and Moss is going to have another go at Hamilton, I'm sure of it. Button I can still see is holding up Vettel, and teammates aren't getting past each other, and Clark hasn't done anything either in all this. Oh, Button got it very wrong there through turn 1. What can Vettel do? Well, he's close, but again, this isn't an overtaking spot unless you've had to go into 1 and got side by side with them. You can't spring a trap on anyone through this section of corners. You have to hope they make a mistake or you've got them already. So Patel sat behind Button here as we head into the Ascari corner. A little bit of dust from Button and Patel has to lift. Hoy is quite comfortably in no man's land now between Brabham and Button. I mean, it's not that much no man's land, about 2 seconds between them. But it's worth noting that Hightech has closed the gap to his teammate to about 2 seconds, so he's bringing Kobayashi in a bit. Not too much though. As here we go, so the battle for last place. The Lazy has the inside, but Stappen has the outside. Stappen round the outside on the dusty bit. A Lazy getting a big wobble. And straight into the left-hander. A Lazy's got into line into 4, but Stappen's going to have it for 5. And into 6. The long right-hander for Stappen just about takes 8th place off Shot a Lazy, so a Lazy relegated to last, and Verstappen, well, you can put the not last sticker on the side of his car and run with it, because, well, that's the best prize you're getting at the moment, mate. Of course, if a Lazy then goes and retires, well, that sticker will be rescinded. So Senna actually here is really dropping off from the pack. Don't know what's happened, has he got some damage or anything from an early collision, but he lost all that time at the beginning and he's been nowhere since. Hakkinen is, well, he's stuck behind Felix da Costa, he's stuck behind Leclerc, stuck behind Watson, and they're just dropping away from everyone else. Fangio, his home race, is doing disastrously really. As the Bengal also just falling further back every time I look at them really. Inoue's having to lift for Ascari, but he's got more power than anyone else, so that doesn't really surprise me. He's making his way up behind Gurney and is close to getting in the points, despite having qualified 12 places off them. Mansell is still stuck behind Perez and unable to get through. So we'll follow Inoue through the chicane. Can he get a good exit? No, a little bit of slide on there. There's a big power advantage from this cast over the Excelsior up ahead, so I would not be surprised if Inoue comes flying past down the first straight, though he seems quite far back, although he is reading Gurney in. Getting some good speed, he's just had to lift because he's not confident in the lunge yet. He's comfortable for another lap. Oh, and he's got a bit twitchy on the exit, which just kind of screwed him up there. Moss is still stuck behind Hamilton. He's obviously a bit better than Hamilton and quicker than him, but can't get through in all this. Hamilton's got 6 seconds to find to get to Prost, who's got further 6 seconds up to Clark, who's still stuck behind the Harveys. All these 3 cars have got the high downforce upgrade. Actually, yeah, so let's go through kind of. So 3 teams have turned up to this race with the high downforce. Not Hightech. Hightech is still happy on loan with a lot of power, and on these straights they are streaking away. Actually, let's just follow Kobayashi and see what speed he's hitting down this straight. Compare them. So not in the slipstream, 189. Gasher here with the high downforce, he only hit 176 or something. So yeah, 180, so there's about 10 miles an hour difference between the Hightech and everyone else down, and the high downforce is down the straight. Siggy Pop also have gone for high downforce. Something happened then. Rossi is struggling because he didn't have good qualifying, and he can't get past Moss or Hamilton. Moss has got the same power as him, but obviously less downforce, so less drag, quicker in the straights, and Hamilton has just got so much more power than either of these two, which is why he's stuck. In fact, Cass and Hightech have both made it over the 1 times power multiplier already, which, well, they've got some powerful cars now and streaking away, but bad qualifying and drivers aren't quite up to it, which is why they're falling back. and they're kind of in the lower reaches the points rather than the higher reaches. Inouye's qualifying was unlucky more than anything, I think. But he still can't get past Gurney, so perhaps it's not all in being unlucky. But that's the way global Formula Automobilista works. Just because you've got the quickest car and driver doesn't mean you're necessarily going to be at the front. It doesn't necessarily mean you go and win, or even finish. So, otherwise, yeah, Powers has been modified, of course, since the last race. And actually, Gasho now is right behind Heidfeld. And Hoyt is close right up to Brabham as well. It's getting close again with these battles up the front. So, it's a Power last season, it went up to 1.2 times. And it was a bit cheaper, it's 200 credits per upgrade. This season, the cost of changing your power has gone up to 300, and it's only capped at 1.1 tons rather than 1.2 tons. So the power is still going to be a thing, but it's a bit more expensive, and you can't quite go as high. Meaning, power will hopefully play less of a role. I think last season it played slightly too much of a role in the championship, and the drivers were kind of left while they've upgraded their power and then focused on the drivers. So hopefully with this change, power will certainly be worth it, but playing with your drivers and having a look at their skills early on can help you reap the rewards. And actually, I think back here, yes it is, we have a change of position for fourth. So David Brabham's had an awful second half of the lap actually through the centre S's, and Chris Hoy appears to have got past into the final hairpin. So, Brabham's got it a bit wrong on the curb. Hoy's got on a monumental exit. Low downforce is giving him some speed, and he's just sent it on the brakes. Absolutely sent it on the brakes. So now, Hoy's past Brabham. Brabham's going to be in the slipstream. Can he bruise back past? And he's got the high downforce, so Brabham should be better on the brakes, but no. Hoy's he's got the legs, and he's able to keep at fourth place. So Chris Hoy for DTK Racing, fourth place, looking quite happy at the moment. We'll see if that develops and if Brabham can mount a charge back, but for the moment, he's back up there. Gasho and Heidfeld are right with each other now. So Gasho's in the slipstream now as we head towards Ascari. The high downforce versus the high power. Gasho's had to lift because he's in the slipstream of Heidfeld, but look at that on the brakes. Constantine right up behind him. We've got 3 seconds covering 4th to 8th, it would seem, as the Hoy Brabham battles allow Button to slightly close up, and Patel and Clark are right with each other again. Gasho's Heidfeld's had an awful exit out the centres. Heidfeld's cut out the centre S is really badly, and Gasho's close. He's going to send it up the inside. Gasho up to second. Same move that Chris Hoy did last lap. Team obviously told him on the radio, get a good exit out the centres. Hope they make a mistake and send it up the inside of the final corner. It works as an overtake. David's just been mugged off like that, but Heidfeld coming back down the straight with the absolute power as there's contact as Gasho's rear front wing merges with Heidfeld's rear wing. They're lucky to get out without any damage, but Gasho had made the move, but that extra downforce, therefore extra drag, and the lack of power means that Heidfeld was able to breeze back through. But all of this is playing in Kobayashi's hand as the lead is nearly up to 5 seconds. So Heidfeld is not as easy as you thought. Hoy has managed to pull half a second over Brabham, as Button isn't able to keep up with these guys really. Clark's quite happily sat behind for the moment. And what can Gasho do? Let's look at timing tower. So the Hamilton Rossi battle hasn't changed in order. Perez is still holding Mansell and Gurney up, and Inouye's not got through, and that's allowed Villeneuve to catch up. So there's a big battle there. Yes, actually the Perez train has now become 13th down to 21st. Prost is still by himself. He's now got 8 seconds away from Jim Clark, but he's still got 6 seconds over Hamilton, which is what he's had for a long time. So gap behind is consistent. They're quite happy. Moss is thinking, right, how am I going to deal with Hamilton? I can't get him down this straight, and this straight appears to be, apart from the final hairpin, the only overtaking spot really on this circuit, unless they get inventive. So I don't know what Moss is going to have to do, because he's got the legs on Rossi. Rossi's got no power in comparison, and he's got too much drag with that downforce set up. He's kind of stuck there. Perez is still holding off Mansell, and then everyone else. Inouye's charge has been temporarily halted by the American. Fangio has got past Damon Hill somewhere, he's up to 20th. And Watson in 22nd is actually starting to catch up. So the bad rain is nowhere near the points really. Hakkinen has got past Felix da Costa at some point in prehistory. I didn't know. Verstappen's has pulled 6 seconds over Lazy, but that's scant consolation. Gasho's one attack on Heidfeld appears to have kind of fallen by the wayside. He's not really able to keep up again. He's catching up through this middle sector, but then there's the back straight, which is just separating him again, and it's kind of, he's not able to get the speed back in the middle sectors. So the gap is extended up to a second at the end of the straight, and then it closes back up, but he can't do anything. Vettel is going to get bored of seeing Button's rear wing, as is Clark seeing another Harvey rear wing. There's Moss here, who obviously had another go at Hamilton into the final hairpin. Yes, he has. He's actually got past, but once again the Cass has just streaked past down the straight. Moss is going to have to send one up the inside into first corner after something like that. Otherwise it's going to be nowhere. They have dropped Rossi though, so Rossi falling back a bit, as this massive Perez train is still not looking that much different to what it was before. Jensen, but here we go, so Button's starting to get, they're all starting to get low on fuel, so first pit stops are going to be on the way soon. 25, so yeah, 2 stops for everyone are coming in obviously, and they're all at about the right point as well. So we'll have to see where the traffic drops them. Now Kobayashi has got a pretty big lead, so the pit lane is quite long here. It's actually very long, but they do cut off the final hairpin end of the pit. But I don't know how long pit stops are, I've got to admit, so I can't really guess anything. But if any of these guys pit and end up in that Perez train, it's pretty much game over. So Gasho and Button are going to be our first pit stops at this lead group. They are basically the guinea pigs for everyone else. Kobayashi he could be quite safe over it. Or it could be that Gasho pops out behind it, and then Kobayashi appears in the middle of it, and Gash is able to stream up behind. So we're about to find out how painful these pit stops are going to be. And their only hope is going to be this. Oh no, no one in the Perez train is looking to pit soon, so Bertrand Gasho will ride on board with you, because we're going to find out from you and Button what's going to happen. Into Center S's. Gasho's, I mean, he's had to go past Heidfeld. He did get past Heidfeld and lead him across the line once, but the power of the Hightech just streaked off into the distance. So Gasho makes it into the pit stops, through the chicane, and pits. Button also doing the same thing. So Hoy moves up to 3rd, Bram up to 4th, Vettel up to 5th, and Clark is 6th. Gasho's going to make his stop here. Button's going to make their stop. Button gets going. Gasho gets going. Oh, they're going to pop out ahead of... Is this going to be the Hamilton? The Cass? Yes, so the Gasho appears just behind Rossi. And Button as Perez. That's Perez and Gurney, and that's Inoue finally up the inside of Gurney into turn 1. So, yeah, well, I say finally at the inside. Gurney's got back through, and Button is in 16th. So Jensen Button here has turned up in pretty much the worst place he could possibly be. He's got high downforce, so he can't really even catch up to them, but he can't really get past down the straights. He's going to have to. These guys are going to pit soon. Rossi's coming in this lap. Frost's coming in, Clark's coming in, Vettel's coming in, Bram's coming in, Hoy isn't yet, Heidfeld and Kobayashi aren't coming in either, but they've only just hit their fuel lights. So, yes, so Gasho's turned up right behind Rossi, although Rossi's about to get out of his way, so that's going to help him. But he's still going to have to get past the Red Knight and the Cass up ahead of him, but Perez, Mansell and Gurney and Inoue are all in front of Jensen Button, and Button's going to be losing so much time. He really is. Yeah, so Rossi's coming in. So Prost is in the pits, Vettel's in the pits, Clark's in the pits, Hoy's coming in this lap, Heidfeld, Kobayashi's coming in, so Heidfeld's going to take one more lap. Where is it on? So Hamilton zips through, Vettel. There's Vettel and Bram going to come out. Oh, Perez is through. The Perez train has gone through. Vettel appears. He's behind his teammate. So Button, despite being in the Vettel train, in the Perez train, can eventually jump over, and Brabham has made a calamity. Brabham has lost out to both Harveys there in that pit stop. As has Clark. Clark's actually lost out even more. Brabham has found himself caught in this absolute train of pain behind Perez. Although Perez and Mansell are about to get out of the way, is Inoue finally going to be able to get past Gurney and all this? Moss is coming in, Hamilton's coming in, Hoy's coming in this lap, Heidfeld's going another one. Kobayashi makes it to the pit lane. Heidfeld's going for one more lap. Chris Hoy also going to make the pit lane. We'll just ride with him, see if he does actually make it into his pit stop and does his first pit stop of the season after the disaster it was last time. Hoy is safely in. So Nick Heidfeld is going to come in this lap. He's going to lead a lap for a while. So Hamilton is going to pick this lap as is Moss, which is going to release Gasho. So it's a case of where is Gasho going to be relative to Kobayashi and Hoy? It looks like they've probably jumped Gasho because he's going to have lost so much time here. Yes, so Kobayashi's through. Oh, it could be close here. I think Gasho might have Hoy. He does. Hoy's escaped the pits. Hamilton and Inoue is now released in 5th place as he's got past Gurney, but Button is so far behind now as Vettel's going to have a launch on Button into turn 1. Gurney holds Button up and Vettel's up to 7th and he gets past his teammates. He's finally made the pass through the pit stops and they're past Brandon as well. Certainly going to help them all. So Inoue's coming in this lap. Heidfeld's just got a few more corners to make it into the pits. Kobayashi's going to rejoin. Very comfortable lead over Gasho now in net second, and Chris Hoy up to net third after Dave Brabham's disaster. The Harveys are falling behind. What can Vettel do on Gurney here? He's got the downforce, should be able to get... Can he send it up the inside? I don't think so, he's not brave enough on the brakes. Button's close to Brandon's flourish, and Clark has dropped further back. He's had something's gone wrong with him. And don't worry, Hightech fans, Heidfeld has made it in to the pits. So Kobayashi's probably going to retake the race lead here. In second, Hoy's he's fourth. He's probably going to stay fourth after this. Inoue up to fifth after his 27th start, but he's now pitting and he's going to drop back. Vettel's actually Button up the inside there. He's right on board with Brabham as we see all this. So Vettel's actually been held up a bit by Gurney going for his pit stop, and Button sends it up the inside. And Vettel and Brabham's going to try and get him on the exit. Not quite happening. Brabham's going to have to sit behind Vettel. He's going to send it up the inside into the first corner though. Not this lap, as that looks like, hang on, that looks like we have the rear wing or the front wing of a, it's a yellow front wing, I think. It's Schumacher, so yes, we have a Bangalore front wing missing. So that was in the exit turn 1, so I have to go back a bit further to find out what's happened. Is it somebody coming out of the pits, or is it? Or is that? No, that's the DTK wing. So Schumacher's gone up the inside of Fangio and Clark, and Schumacher's spun, and he's rejoined. And is that going to be Felix da Costa? It is Felix da Costa. So Schumacher has now hit Felix da Costa, who's also going to be crawling around that front wing in 18th place. Got a big mess of cars in the pit lane. So, right, so Kobayashi's leading. Heidfeld has got Gasher right behind him again, so that's going to be a battle that's going to rejoin. Hoy is comfortably ahead of Button, with Vettel in 6th now. And Brabham now falling behind the Harveys. He's going to have to work back up. Clark's dropped away from the pack thanks to the Perez train. And Prost is a bit close to someone. Rossi is now 10th. He's jumped Hamilton and Moss, which is really helpful because he's got the higher downforce package. So should now be able to use the pace to streak away from these two. Perez is 13th, rid of Phil Hill and 14th, and Mansell now 15th last of the points. And Beloff, having had his rear wing replaced, now up to 16th, although he's probably still taking his first actual fuel stop. He's going to have to pit twice again. Villeneuve's now 17th, then Gurney, and then Nue is down to 19th. Verstappen up to 20th, but again he's going to have to pit again as Kobayashi sets the fastest lap of the race. Sophia Flörsch 21st, head of 17th, Fangio, and John Watson now is running around that front wing. He's lost it quite early on. This is probably another turn 1 accident. It is, and it's Gurney's come out the pits, and he's come out the pits, driven all the way across the track and straight in front of Watson. That was poor driving by the American there. Very aggressive pit exit. Watson's seen it, he's hit the brakes, but nothing he can do there. That was pretty awful. Felix da Costa having replaced his front wing is down in 29th, and Schumacher's also last now. Kobayashi's got a 6-second lead out of Heidfeld as Gasher is pressuring up Heidfeld, and Hoy is closing the gap. Button has not managed to fend off Vettel at all, as Vettel's actually right back on his teammate. With Brabham now keeping them honest, so the Harveys have always spent this race together with somebody close to them. Gasher isn't going to close up to Heidfeld down this straight, it seems. Through the corner though, he might do. It's 3 tenths, actually 2 tenths. It's 2 tenths in his brake point, so Gasher is right on the back of Heidfeld now. He's almost touching that rear wheel. Through the corner, this is allowing Chris Hoy is now 1.1 seconds behind the pair to catch up. So Hoy looking pretty good on these tyres, and Heidfeld looking not that good so far. And actually Gasher's having a look at the centre S's, and he's just pushed Heidfeld a bit wide. Side by side out the chicane. And heading down the straight, what's Chris Hoy going to do and think about all this? So Heidfeld's got the inside line quite comfortably. Kobayashi sets fastest lap, and Gasher's been pushed out wide. which is going to allow Chris Hoy now. Chris Hoy having a run. It's right on the inside line. He's got the less downforce and more power. He's going to hold it, but the Polestar around the outside. He's got downforce, he's got the line, he's got the rubber. Hoy has to stick to fourth at the moment. But Gasher's doing what he can. Heidfeld gets a small respite to about 6/10 of a second. But it looks like there's the lapped car of John Watson in between that they're going to have to deal with at some point. This battle for second is really hotting up now as Buckner's fended off the tail for another lap. Brabham's close but not really able to do anything at the moment. Power difference is in favour of the Harvey at the moment, and they've got the same downforce, so there you go. Rossi is managing to pull away from Hamilton now, with Hamilton's power advantage is helping hold off Moss, but that's about it. Phil Hill here, he's going to have to make his pit stop after he lost his front wing, was it really? No, front wing, wing earlier in the race. So that's going to allow Mansell back up, and Benoff is also making his pit stop soon for some fuel. Of course, they lost their wings about 5 laps after the race start, so they've had an extra 5-6 laps of fuel. Kobayashi sets another fastest lap as the battle for second up ahead is super close again. Hoyer's got past. Hoyer's made it past Gasho again, so Gasho is caught right up to Heidfeld after Ascari. And actually, Hoyer's going to send it up the inside of Gasho into the centre S. And he's done it cleanly. That is a brilliant move there from Chris Hoy in the DTK. He's now got... He hasn't got the power that Heidfeld has. So he's not going to be able to make the move down this straight. But he has closed right up to Heidfeld now. And now he's past Gasho. This is Hoy's chance here to get past and head off into the distance. Barton's still got Vettel behind. But that pit stop window's definitely helped them, and I think Bramley's actually Hoyer's got past Heidfeld in the middle sector while we're not looking. I thought this battle was going to last for another few, it's going to be resumed in the next few corners, but no. Heidfeld is, they're both inside through 2, what's happened in 3, so nothing much. Heidfeld's not really done anything wrong, a bit of a slide there. But Heidfeld's got it. He's had lift off in the way into 4, and Hoy's just thought, oh well, screw you, I'm going to head up the inside and I'm going to take that position. So Chris Hoy up to second place. Good move there. It's a real opportunistic move. I'm going to have to watch that again in the cockpit cam, so I'm going to T-cam even. So Hoy's close to Harvey. He's got a slightly tighter line through 3. Heidfeld's just lifted through 2, and Hoy's thought, oh well, if you're going to run wide, I'm just going to send out the inside, thank you very much. Yeah, so, yeah, Hoy's just gone for it, and Heidfeld's been scared out of the way. So stick down the straight. Heidfeld's going to have the legs on Hoy, because they've got the same downforce package, but is Heidfeld now going to be under pressure from Gasho rather than able to attack Hoy? It's actually Gasho up the inside. What a move there from Bertrand Gasho as Nick Heidfeld loses 2 places in about 3 corners. It's an awful lap there from the Hightech driver. So Chris Hoy now has got 10 seconds to make up to Kobayashi up ahead of him. But he has got to lap John Watson at some point in between. Well, that is not what I was expecting. But anyway, so the Harveys are still together as Kobayashi sets up another fastest lap of 1:30.565. So Kobayashi is reveling in the mistakes and the chaos that's happening behind him in the overtakes. He's still going. Brabham in 7th is not keeping up with the Harveys, he's actually falling behind. Rossi's got enough of a gap from Hamilton that he doesn't need to worry about being safe or unsafe against him. As that is Phil Hill and Stefan Beloff making their way into the pit lane, which releases Mansell. And the Perez train has evaporated actually, he's got a massive gap over everyone else. as it's now really a build-up train, 17th ahead of Dan Gurney, Verstappen coming in for his stop, and anyway, so the leader's coming in, and the pit stop window has completely torn that train apart. And Senna now behind in the way, doing what he can. It's flourishes, that's Hill up the inside of Fangio. Damon Hill makes the pass on the local boy. Felix lost up to 24th after losing his front wing. At about the pit stop window, so I don't think it's the end of the world really for them. Verstappen and Lazy and Watson exit the pits. Verstappen isn't yet lapped, but it's not going to be long. Lazy has come out the pits a lap down. So Chris Hoy's got 10 seconds to make up to the leader, but he's got 1.2 seconds back to Gasho. As Heidfeld is really dropping back enormously. He's 3 seconds behind already, and already in the clutch of Jensen Button. So what has happened to Heidfeld? He's made another mistake into turn 1 there, but out of nowhere. What's happening to our championship leader and pole sitter? Race winner last time round. He's got a lot of this set of tyres or this fuel load or whatever he's done to the car. It's really not paying off for Heidfeld. Vettel has closed right up to Button. Heidfeld struggles. Actually, Vettel sends out the inside of Button, trying an opportunistic move. It's what Hoy did to Heidfeld. He's been told on the radio that is a place to get Heidfeld. And he thought, oh well, I'll just get Jensen. But no, Jensen fights back because he's not got a mental age of nothing that Heidfeld showed he had last season. But that has kind of momentarily stunted their charge. I just noticed in the feed that Senna and Inoue I think have just swapped positions up at turn 1. But we'll stick with this, the battle for 4th, because it's quite... well, it's looking good. Button now, chasing up to Nick Heidfeld, who led at the start until he was overtaken by his teammate pretty early on. I think we'll look behind from Heidfeld and see what happens, because the Harveys are going to do something stupid if they want to. Vettel up the inside of Button again. Vettel actually having a look at Heidfeld. He's pushed Heidfeld wide here. Vettel's got Button obviously at the moment, but the power of the Hightech down the straight, it's enough to keep him comfortable. This has allowed Brabham to catch up to the Harveys, but Vettel is now the lead Harvey driver. There's a Heidfeld's contact. Heidfeld absolutely awful through turn 1. Alright, let's just see this. So, Vettel's just pulled to the inside and got ahead of Button very easily. He's got a good line on the exit, he just doesn't have the power, and he's got too much downforce for the straights, too much drag, holding him back. The Heidfeld once again just completely cacked through turn 1. Vettel, a little bit of a clunk, but nothing much more. This has allowed Brabham to appear, and he's going to have a look at Button if he's not careful, and Clark's also joining in the fun. So Heidfeld's serious lack of pace, but he's 18 seconds back now from the leader. But you know what, Vettel at the inside of turn 6, that is not an overtaking spot, but he's made it work, and Button's gone through at the same time, so that was the perfect move from Vettel. He's done a brilliant overtake in a corner that isn't a place to go past, and he's made it up. He's got his teammate through, and now Heidfeld's also lost so much time that a tiny gap has appeared, and now Heidfeld's going to have to watch out for Brabham. So whether Vettel meant it or not, he has done the teamwork there. I think Button, well, he'll want to have been the one that did that, but you know, he'll take it. It's worked out for the team. You're going to get, well, as it is now, Harvey are the first team to get are the highest team with 2 cars in the points, so definitely going to take that. As now Clark and Brabham are thinking, can we get past Heidfeld? You know, Prost might be getting told on the radio, Heidfeld is going slow. Keep going, sunshine, you could make this. Hoy in second place has managed to lap Watson, and Gasho's going to have to lap him at some point, but that lap car in between is certainly going to help Hoy, as yes, Gasho's caught up to Watson in a really awkward place. He's got through where Vettel did it last lap. Yeah, Heinfeld is struggling. Something is wrong with that Hightech. Brabham can smell it. Whether he can do anything about it is another thing, but certainly smell it. But he can't do anything down this straight. He could try and do what Gasho did and follow him and send it up the inside of the next corner. Certainly be worth it. Oh, because I think who was that in 27th? They just had an awful final corner, fell off. Right behind Schumacher. Oh, slight contact with Schumacher. Beloff has gone wide through the dirt. He managed to rejoin safely. Back down in 22nd place. Not ideal. Gasha hasn't given up on chasing Hoy at the moment. Button's now got a 3-second lead over Heinfeld. So Brabham needs to make this move as soon as he possibly can. Get past the Hightech, but he's going to have to invent something through the corners because I don't think he's got it down the straights. I really don't. Unless Heidfeld messes up turn 1 massively, he should be fine for the moment. Since Heidfeld's actually having to pit this lap, so obviously what's wrong with Heidfeld is pretty dangerous, or it is actually holding him up, so they're going to bring him in. What's this, lap 38? There's 32 laps left. I don't think they're going to be able to get enough fuel in him, so this is tragic for Heidfeld. He's got an issue, which means he's going to have to, well, make another pit stop, another fuel stop, so disaster here for Hightech, but at least they've noticed the problem. As long as he can make it to the end of this lap and get into the pits, he should be fine. That's Clark there having a look at Brabham. He's got his nose up the inside quite fairly, and actually Clark has made it past Dave Brabham, but no, Brabham's got him back past through the chicane. So, good racing here as they're stuck behind the ailing Heidfeld, and yeah, he's lost another second, or half a second at least on that lap. Vettel has left Button for dead now, he's got past. He's been quicker for a while, and now he's really quick. As Kobayashi's got the length of the entire start straight as his lead. Kobayashi is streaking away with his Hightech, trying to get their second win in GFA and get their second win in a row. And a perfect start to the season. So Heidfeld makes it into the pit stops. This is not what Hightech wanted to see, but if it's like a brake problem like Kobayashi had last time, at least they've spotted it, got him into the pits before it's ended up in the wall. So Perez and Mansell have rejoined their battle here, but at least they haven't got this enormous pack actually from Gilles Villeneuve, which is, what, it's 20 seconds has been made into this from the Perez pack we had before. I don't know how it's got so massive, to be honest. That's a massive surprise. It's now a Villeneuve train. Felix da Costa out to 21st in all of this. Schumacher down 23rd and Hakkinen fell off. So, 2KF1, this is bad, although 2KF1 did seem to focus on getting to the finish, which, you know, this early on in the season is actually a very powerful thing to do, because squeaky bum time hasn't happened yet. There's a bit of contact between Beloff and Hakkinen. Yes, squeaky bum time will hit at some point, as Gilles Villeneuve is now into pit that, so maybe that's what's caused it to fall back. So Villeneuve has obviously had a problem like Heidfeld did, which is where him falling away from Perez has happened. And he's, because no one can actually get past him, that's why it's all become what it has. So Gasho and Hoy keeping about 1.5 seconds part as I noticed that Inoue has lost few positions, so Felix da Costa there has got past Damon Hill into turn 6. It's a good move. Has Inoue been mugged, or is he... Oh, so Hill's gone up the inside of da Costa, and he's actually gone up the inside of Inoue as well. And Inoue's just been forced wide, and Felix da Costa swept through. So having said at the start, on watch how tacky Inoue, he's going to make his way up to the pack. He's being overtaken by cars that are a lot slower than him. Yeah, not going to plan. Villeneuve now really having to defend here from Gurney. Gurney trying to go around the outside of the centre S's, and that's pushed Hill wide. And Felix da Costa now trying to get through. Yes, Felix da Costa has got past Damon Hill. Actually, he's going to have a look at Dan Gurney. Felix da Costa at 17th, so good driving there from the Portuguese. And now Damon Hill and Dan Gurney are battling, and Inoue's got the power over them, but he's not got the exit. So Gurney's coming in this lap now. So Inoue as well. So there's a few guys here making pit stops for not for few reasons. Maybe second pit. I don't know what's going on. Maybe there's some curbs that are damaging some cars or something. Some suspension problems or some clattering that's causing drivers to think, I need to stop again. Car's getting a bit dangerous. I don't think these are all going to be fuel stops, unfortunately. I don't think they're going to be able to make it to the end if they pit now. It's a few further back. Yeah, something new, I suppose. Chris Hoy has increased the gap to 2 seconds over Bertrand Gachot, although blue flags have definitely helped him. Because it looks like Villeneuve's appeared out the pits in front of Gachot. Taylor's catching up to lap John Watson. With Button 5th and Brabham is nowhere near Button. He's 3.5 seconds off. With Jim Clark trying to keep him company, but they've still got too much downforce to battle each other. Prost is 8th and nowhere near everyone else, quite happy. Whereas Rossi still hasn't managed to fend off the threats of Hamilton and Moss is still stuck behind the Cass car. Cass racing machine of Hamilton has had Moss behind him for so much time now. Getting ridiculous, really. As that's Vettel around the outside of Watson at the centre chicanes. Watson lets him through. So Lazy now 28th, Flörsch 26th. And Verstappen is 23rd. So Verstappen's up to 23rd. He still hasn't been lapped by Kobayashi. Which is certainly something, I suppose. Fangio's coming in this lap now. Hamilton looked to have got a bad exit there, but Moss didn't capitalise. None of the leaders are having this phantom random pit stop, so I'm really saying that the guys at the back are trying. See if they can improve their position. As we've got the Hills together in 18th and 19th, I notice. Kobayashi quite happily leading there. His gap's below 10 seconds now, and Hoy has been trying to lap a few back markers, so Hoy's definitely been slightly quicker than Kobayashi on this last few laps. Probably trying to protect from Gachot, who's now got to go lap a Lazy. Oh, Lazy's chosen the wrong side into the centre chicane, and there's contact with Gachot. Gachot has spun. Bertrand Gachot has clashed with John Lazy there, trying to lap him. And has spun round, so that relieves the pressure on Hoy. 6 seconds now is the gap. As Villeneuve's now going to try and get out of the way, and Nash has brought Button into this. There's actually this enormous gaggle of back markers, including like Taki Inoue, and everyone who's made that extra random pit stop for no apparent reason has appeared between the Harveys, and now Vettel's overtake on Button has been so crucial, because it's got him so much more clear air. Inoue pulls wide shot, but Button's sliding around trying to get out of the way. Work out what he's doing. Villeneuve is trying to get out of Gachot's way, but he's too far ahead of the pole star. They're going to go for it in turn 6. Yes, Villeneuve lets him through. Harvey's going to try and follow. It's not Harvey, Vettel's going to try and follow, but he's going to have to do it a couple of corners later. So lap 42, an hour and 5 minutes in, and still all 30 cars are running. Hakkinen is now last. Fangio 29th, Fleurs 28th, and Newey 27th. Watson up to 26th. Gurney, Villeneuve, Alesi, Verstappen, Beloff, and Schumacher, the cars in the low 20s. Phil Hill, Damon Hill, Felix da Costa, Leclerc, and the last drivers not in the points. And so far in the points we've got Senna, Heidfeld, who's actually now caught up to Mansell, and Perez. He's so much quicker, so we should get past these guys quite easily. The Half-Ross 14, we've got Mansell, Perez, Moss, Hamilton, Rossi, Prost, Clark, Brabham, Button, Vettel, Gasho, Hoy, and Kobayashi. We'll go back and see if / when, or how long it's going to take Heidfeld to get past both Mansell and Perez. If his car's fixed, it shouldn't be too long, because this was the car that was on pole position. It is the car that's leading the race and is yonks ahead of these two. Now the final corner, has Heidfeld got a good exit? That's the first question you have to ask. Looks like it was in the slipstream of Mansell. He's got so much more power than the Jaws GP car. Up the inside, Nigel Mansell has to accept that Heidfeld is through. Perez has got it a bit wrong on the curves at turn 1, so Heidfeld could make this move pretty quickly on Perez even. Into turn 4 maybe, he has been mugged off there. So I wouldn't put it past him trying to think, oh, can I try that? But no, he's sat behind, he's thinking of a long game, thinking don't do anything stupid. As you can see on the map, fourth place Sebastian Vettel is clear. Jenson Button is in utter pain. It's hard for now on Perez. What can he do? Answer: not this lap, or not into that corner at least this lap. This Button's getting overtaken now by Gurney because he's trying to back and Villeneuve. Watson's having a look at it again. Brabham's got Clark all for fun in all this. Yeah, Button's been overtaken, or unlapped by Villeneuve. That is not going to do much for his morale. Clark is thinking, can I get past Gasho and all, not Gasho, sorry, Brabham and all this mess? It doesn't seem so, as it seems that Heidfeld, yes, Heidfeld's got past Perez into the final hairpin. He's set him up into Senna's. He's got the exit out the chicane. Up the inside into the final corner. Nick Heidfeld up to 12th place. Button is staring at two cars that he has already lapped that have got back past him. He's going to be absolutely thrilled when he sees this replay, because they should be getting out of his way, of course, but as we saw with me in the season last season, blue flag's not necessarily the most adhered to of things. As it takes a while to get back, it looks like Watson having to lift off out of that. I don't know back through. We've got an absolute mess here in the battle for 25th place, 26th even. Inouye has got past Watson and Hakkinen. Like some Fangio, home drivers down in last place. So Kobayashi and Hoy out of the melees, absolutely fine. Kobayashi is starting to catch up to 22nd place Verstappen, although he's been trying to do that for ages, still hasn't got past, so he's looking quite fine there. Chris Hoy's got nowhere near him, so he is quite happy, as it is. Gasho doing what he can. He's third, is about to lap. I think that was Leclerc. That's a lazy. Vettel is happy and Button is still stuck in this train of evil. These blue flag guys of yeah, it's Villeneuve and Gurney just not getting out of his way. Nick Heidfeld there. Now he's been released and his car's not falling apart. He actually managed to set fastest lap again, doing the pace his teammate was doing before the first lot of pit stops. Clark quite happy to see that he's ahead of this lot, but anyway, he's looking racy. I mean, he's got new tyres on, so he's thinking, can I get past Clark? I've got a lot of power. Certainly could do if I wanted to, but I don't think I'd be happy with that. His button is just falling back here into the clutches of... You know, he can't keep up with Villeneuve and Gurney, and they're just holding him up. So, as the stint goes on, the leaders aren't... They're losing time, and the guys at the back are actually still quite quick. When everyone's out of sync, or because when they're in sync, these guys at the front are pulling away, but as it is now, it's all going a bit wrong. Gasher here trying to go around the outside of a Lazy and get a lap on him. Lazy, is he going to choose a sensible place to do it? No, he's just going to park at the stupid place again. Of course, Gasher's already tangled. I think it was with a Lazy at the centre S's. Gasher just gets a kicker oversteer to kind of tell a Lazy off. Button here, I think he's at risk of being passed by Brabham. Clark is at risk of being unlapped by Inoue, which will not help his blood pressure. We're all a bit stable at the moment. And this battle for last place is obviously quite intense. They're all so awful and stuck behind quick cars who they can't get past. They're not going anywhere really. They're having to hope that they have managed to make their last stop. They're going to have to hope that everybody else who soon makes their pit stops is going to, well, yes, so like Inoue is going to have to hope this was his last pit stop, and like the Phil Hills and the Damon Hills and the Felix da Costas are all going to pit and end up behind them. But who knows what's going to happen. I'd felt, having got past Perez, has pulled 5 seconds on him, and he set fastest lap, so that doesn't surprise me. Sterling Moss, though, is still staring at the back of the cash racing car of Lewis Hamilton. He must be so bored of that rear wing. He's been stuck there for ages, can't do anything about it. Well, what can you say? Just doesn't have the power. He's obviously skilled enough to stick with him, but he just can't. Nowhere to overtake here if you can't. Well, he just can't keep up down straight enough to catch up at the places where you can overtake if you've not got the straight line speed. So let's just have a quick run through where everyone is. So, which camera should we go for? Let's go for this one. So Kobayashi, comfortable 9.5 second lead over Chris Hoy. We've got 7 seconds up ahead to Gasho in 3rd place. So Gasho still running in 3rd place where he finished the last race. So as strong as after we can keep this. Vettel is now 4th, up 6 places from his grid spot. And Brabham is down to 5th off the grid. Wait! Jensen Button's blown up! So the Harvey Jensen Button, maybe that's why he was so stuck behind everyone. Yes, he's pulled off at the centre S's, and it's Button's turn to be the Harvey racing car that blows up. The tail ran out of fuel in the last round, and Jensen Button is sat there with a plume of black smoke. Squeaky bum time strikes Jensen Button. So, yes, Vettel 4th, this promotes Brabham up into 5th and Clark up into 6th, because he's just having to defend Inoue. Alain Prost has made it up to 7th, by doing not much except just keeping going and keeping out of trouble. Valentino Rossi's up to 8th, having passed Lewis Hamilton in the pit stops, and Sterling Moss has been stuck behind Cass for ages. Heidfeld's up to 11th from pole and made an extra pit stop, so anyone else makes their fuel stops, we'll see where they turn out and whether Heidfeld has to pit again. Mansell here, side by side with Perez now, through turn 1. Is Mansell going to make the move on Perez? They've been fighting for a while. Perez has the inside line for turn 3. Mansell's got the position so far into 4. Perez is going to keep up the inside, push Mansell wide. Mansell's got the inside line as Perez has spun off. Sergio Perez, what's happened, Perez? Has he just had a certain failure of some sort? I think he might be pulling off into retirement there. It's a brilliant driving here between Perez and Mansell. Turn 3 is a bit of a slide. On the inside, Perez sticks his nose in at 4, pushes Mansell wide. But the transition is pretty close and he's just lost the rear into the gravel. Now can Perez get it going? Or is that it? I think Perez might be stuck in the gravel. Sergio Perez. No. He'd held everyone up for so long. He was doing what he could. He was in the points. But Sergio Perez looks to have chucked it in the gravel. And that's the end of his race. So Perez, next driver out the race. Well, that's something. Okay, I need to keep going through everyone because this is where the action happens. So Mansell up to 12th with Perez out. Senna's now 13th. Leclerc up to 14th. And Antonio Felix da Costa in the points. So as it stands, DTK getting a double points finish. Damon Hill's 1 place away in the jaws, so he's having to do a couple more times so he can get his first point. He's having found himself on the way to hell last time out. Phil Hill, so Damon is leaving the hill off. Phil Hill is 17th and Schumacher 18th with Beloff 19th. Defending champion Verstappen is 20th now, still with Kobayashi behind, unable to lap him. Lazy is 21st. Gilles Villeneuve 22nd and Newey 23rd. Watson is 24th. Fleurs 25th. Hacken 26th. Vander 27th. And in all of this, Dan Gurney has retired somewhere and I didn't even notice. So, bear with me as I'm going to have to rewind for ages until... Okay, so he's pulled off. No sign of smoke, so... Curtis Ken, ooh, something's gone wrong with the steering there and he's decided that's enough. So, okay, Dan Gurney is also out this race apparently, so we've got 3 retirements in a very short amount of time there. Chris Hoy is starting to get the gap down to Kobayashi to 9 seconds over 9.5. Gasho has only got 2 seconds back to Vettel, the sole remaining Harvey now. So Harvey not looking to get, well, Harvey aren't going to get double points here, which certainly hit them financially. Brabham looking strong in 5th now. He lost out in the first set of pit stops, so we'll have to see how the second set goes. Clark looking quite comfortable now in 6th. Inoue is leaving him alone. And Prost 7th place is looking quite comfortable. Rossi doesn't have to deal with the fact that Hamilton and Moss are still scrapping, although they're having to look out because Heidfeld's on his way. So Nick Heidfeld is going to join this Moss-Hamilton battle, and will he finally be what Moss needs to get past? Well, if it takes turn 1 like that again, probably not, because that was awful. So Hill's actually 2 places, or Phil Hill's 2 places from getting Excelsior's first points this season. Actually, yes, let's have a look. So Falcon, are they in the point? So Falcon, Eneli, DTK and Excelsior. They're the teams that haven't got points yet. DTK, 2nd place, scoring points as it stands. Prost in 7th, Falcon scoring points as it stands. Senna, Falcon scoring double points as it stands. And Felix da Costa making DTK scoring double points as it stands. So Excelsior are 2 places away with their only remaining driver in Phil Hill. and Verstappen is 5 places away with Verstappen, but they do at least have 2 drivers with Fleury in 25th, 10 places away, so they're going to need this next pit window to do something mad. So Gasho was the first to pit the last lot. He's just starting to get his fuel warning, so the next set of pit stops are about to be happening. Kobayashi's probably thinking, please can that fuel light come on, because I'm about to hit a big train of back markers that Verstappen is closing in on. So Kobayashi's losing a bit of time actually, as Horner's managed to close the gap down to 8 seconds, so he's found a second in the last few laps or so. Hoy doing what he can, DTK, see where he can get up to. Brabham has managed to get Villeneuve in between him and Clark, which is certainly going to help their battle. As Prost has actually got a massive mess of 24th down to 27th in between him and the next lot. So Prost is not going to be causing them any issues. Rossi is coming in quite soon. I think we'll stick here though. So Nick Heidfeld's caught up to Moss. It's less than a second now is the gap between him and Moss. Moss is going to have to hope, basically, that Heidfeld gets past him quite quickly, and then Heidfeld completely screws Hamilton up in such a way that Moss is able to get through as well. Or Moss is going to have to pit at a different time to Hamilton and hope that he can under/overcut him. So otherwise he's going to get absolutely nowhere. We have a yellow flag. There's someone in 4th place. Who is it? Got a car stopped. It's Vettel! It's Sebastian Vettel and the Harvey Racing team. Having gone from super points in the last round, Vettel retired with no fuel. And what's happened to him here? So into turn 3 we go. As Vettel comes out. Oh, he's selected 3rd and the engine's turned off. Something has died, the electrics have gone or something. And that is an absolute nightmare for the Harvey Racing crew. That's a double DNF. So DTK got the double DNF last time round for the top 3 of the championship last year. And it's Harvey who've got it now. Well, at least their first team to get it this year. So Harvey, 3rd in the Constructors' Championship. They're not going to get any points today because they didn't get any pole position points either. So that's another twist in the tail of this Argentine Grand Prix. Kobayashi's carrying on, Hoy's carrying on, but Gasho, he has got his fuel warning and he makes it into the pit lane. Brabham's going to have to do another lap. Clark is looking a bit light. And Rossi as well, so the Ziggy Pop's going to be making their pit stop soonish as well. As we'll follow this gap now. What can Heidfeld do? Because of course he's been promoted into the top 10 now thanks to Vettel's retirement. As it looks like Verstappen has finally been lapped by Kobayashi, as Hoyer's got to get down 7.5 seconds now for the lead. Gasho is exiting the pits behind Alain Prost, but miles ahead of Rossi. So Heidfeld, he's going to have the legs on Moss, but I don't think he's got them early enough. He doesn't. He's good on the brakes, but he's been awful through here. He likes to hit that grass on the inside and slide, does Heidfeld. But he seems fine at the moment. Seems fine at the moment. Go up ahead, so Rossi's coming in this lap. Brabham is coming in this lap. Heidfeld's getting quite close. And Moss has closed up on Hamilton again, but he just can't catch up because there's a straight after that. Straight. I know, but they're both used in complete different contexts, so you can say the same word again. I do like that. Like any language, when you're able to get away with saying the same word twice or even 3 or more times in a row and it being the correct way of saying it, you know. In English, that is one that you can often say twice. You can say that when you're trying to describe something that has done something. And so here we go, Heidfeld sending up the inside of Moss, and I said that that was what he needed to do, as proved just there. I perfectly set myself up for this. As Heidfeld now, he's got the power on Hamilton, so he should be able to get past Hamilton as well. I don't think he'll be able to do this lap, but he's going to be close. So Moss needs to kind of stick around and pick up the pieces when Heidfeld's got past. Frost coming in, Clark's coming in this lap. Kobayashi and Hoy haven't got their fuel warnings yet. They pitted quite late in comparison to everyone else. Hoy's got the gap down to under 7 seconds now. I can only sound the last car by only 26th. Damon Hill is down the points. Victor Costa's getting higher up. Rossi's rejoined 11th behind Mansell. Brabham's in 9th and he's right behind this Moss, Heidfeld, Hamilton scrap. Although Hamilton and Moss will probably pit soon and get out of his way. So it's likely to be Brabham versus Heidfeld's. Heidfeld's tyres start to fall off. Gasher is now right behind Prost, having made his pit stop. So Gasher's going to get past soon as Clark comes into the pits. Hoy's getting a bit low on fuel as Kobayashi clips Schumacher trying to lap him there. Really scrappy here from Kobayashi as he's starting to get lapped, and it's allowing Chris Hoy in clear air to catch up. He's already catching up in the clear air anyway, but Kobayashi's losing so much time in these back markers. I think Kobayashi's stuck in 3rd gear. Kobayashi's low on fuel, and Kobayashi, our race leader, has found himself stuck in 3rd gear. He was buzzing the limiter. He's having to drive through. Kobayashi, get in the pits now. Get in the pits as soon as you can. Please, get that gearbox fixed. Oh, it's horrible. Does it have a yellow flag up ahead? Somebody's spun off. Oh, he's got a rear wing missing. So I'll just, no, not that camera. See, there's Prost coming in. Get a replay. Clark, Mansell. Is it Beloff and Hill? Oh, Beloff is... It's Beloff, he's got it completely wrong. So Beloff has dived at the inside of Hill, of Phil Hill, and has missed Damon Hill. And what's he going to do when he rejoins? He's just going to rejoin. Oh, what an absolute... I'm going to try and avoid swearing, but he's driven across the track straight into Damon Hill. That was pathetic driving, I really have to say. Kobayashi's not made it into the pit stops this lap, I think. What's he doing? Stuck in 3rd gear, he's buzzing the limiter. Chris Hoy must surely get this call on the radio. You're going to catch Kobayashi, watch out, he's stuck in 3rd gear. Don't crash into the back of him, but you're coming in this lap anyway. Kobayashi's now caught up to Beloff. And Schumacher, Kobayashi's hit Schumacher, Kobayashi has spun. Kamui Kobayashi spins. Chris Hoy is going to take the race lead on the grass. Is he going to get it going? What is this? This is the most ridiculous, unorthodox, how have you screwed it up changes for the lead I think you'll ever see. What is going on? I mean, Hoy hasn't even taken the lead yet because Kobayashi's in a spot where being in 3rd gear is the kind of gear you want to be in. As Alain Prost makes the pit stop from 4th place. But what's happening? Verstappen is up into 16th, so he could get some points here. Kobayashi in 3rd gear is now really struggling. He's going to struggle in the braking point as well. But actually Hoy isn't getting through. And if the team... Now Kobayashi's not coming in this lap. Why aren't the team calling him in? Why isn't Kobayashi coming in? He can't get past Stefan Beloff who's missing a rear wing. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous driving by Kobayashi. And they're trying to lap now Beloff because they're at a point where 3rd gear is fine. Beloff's going to get out of the way. Is he going to get out of the way? But no, he's not, because Hoy's going to come into pits. He is. Gets through. Hoy Oh, Kobayashi isn't coming into the pits. Kamui Kobayashi is trying to eke out as much time as he can in the lead. He's coming in this lap. But surely this is too late. Look, he's... Oh, that is such a painful noise. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he burns off all his fuel and all that. So, Gasho now, actually, I know Gasho had his spin, although Hoy has just gone off, so this could be Gasho versus Hoy for the race win now. So Hill and Beloff have now made their pit stops. Bertrand Gasho is accelerating up the straight, so Hoy lost a lot of time. He's actually made contact with Fangio as he comes out of the pits. Luckily, he didn't take any damage. Hoy's only got 1.3 second lead over Gasho, which is certainly going to be the race lead. Kobayashi's 23 seconds ahead. Surprisingly, staying out hasn't been the worst ever decision. Heidfeld's now up to 4th. So he's not got to pit again. He's got past Hamilton and Brabham and Clark and Mansell, and Moss has made his pit stop. So can Moss jump Hamilton and all this pit with no mess? Beloff lets Brabham and Clark through. Chris Hoy is now going to try and get past Fangio somewhere without causing damage to either of them, because he knows that Kobayashi is limping up ahead. He's lucky that really there's only 2 points on the lap where being stuck in third gear hurts desperately. Oh, pit stop is not looking great. So can the team fix that in the pit stop, or is he going to be stuck in third gear for eternity? Gasho is now standing at the back of Hoy going, this could be a race win. Especially if Hoy's going to be held up by Villeneuve like that, although Villeneuve's just held Gasho off as well for good measure. But no, Kobayashi is retired! Kamui Kobayashi, stuck in third gear, has come into the pits and the team have gone, sorry mate, you might be leading, but we can't fix that, and we don't want to blow the car up, and we don't think it's safe for you to stay out. Battery stalled as soon as he got into stop, but no, Kobayashi retires from the race lead. Leader's curse. Once again, a thing in this series, although this time, completely new reason. Sensational stuff. So now Chris Hoy, retired from the first race from the lead, is now leading the race. DTK Racing. With somebody off in 16th. Just seen. Who's that? Ed Schumacher. Michael Schumacher now bites the bullet for Bangalore. It's actually, that's a double retirement for Bangalore. That's a disaster. They had a great qualifying. Great qualifying. It's all gone to waste in the race. Perez spun off and Schumacher has also lost it on the brakes and decided maybe something is dead in this car. No, it's his engine, that's why. It's coming into the pits anyway, but that broken engine is too much. Felix da Costa makes the pits, the clerk as well. Hamilton, here he is, exiting the pits. Where is he going to return in response to Sterling Moss? Moss has jumped him. Sterling Moss has jumped Lewis Hamilton in the pit stops. That has gone fantastic for him, with finally, after 2 pit stops and spending most of the race stuck behind him, Sterling Moss has got past Lewis Hamilton. So, Kobayashi's retirement and all the chaos that we've just had. So Chris Hoy now leads by 3 seconds of Gasho, who's still stuck behind Villeneuve. So Gasho's lost a calamitous amount of time behind the Bravera driver, who he couldn't get past at this point last lap. A disaster for Gasho. Heidfeld's up to 3rd, although I fear he may still have to pit again for a splash and dash with like 3 laps to go. Jim Clark is now 4th for City Pop, ahead of Dave Brown for Polestar. Prost is up to 6th and Rossi 7th. Moss is now 8th, having got past Hamilton, with Mansell in 10th. Phil Hill up into 11th. Verstappen is now up to 12th, although I think he's got to stop again. Like a few of the other drivers who took some damage early on, they'll probably come into the pits in another 5 laps. Jim Clark sits the fastest lap in 4th place. Interesting. Senna's in 13th. With Leclerc in 14th and Felix da Costa up into 15th. So Inouye is now 16th, up 11 places, and Flourish is 17th place, about to be lapped by Chris Hoy, the race leader. Villeneuve has now let Gasho through. He's got Fangio for company. John Lacy 20th with Hill, Hackman, Beloff, rounding out everyone running. So Kobayashi, Schumacher, Watson, Vettel, Perez, Button, and Gurney are retirements. That's not a double same word, that is R-A-R-E, our, O-U-R, just my accent pronounces them both as the same kind of mess of vowels and consonants, just R. And I suppose it's technically just one big consonant, R. I'm not good at linguistics of languages, so I don't know the actual phonics of all that. It just makes it sound like I'm clever. So, Chris Hoy leads. Bertrand Gachot is currently second. Let's go for a lap with our second place driver. It's 3 seconds off the lead, so into turn 1. Pretty slow corner, takes it in second gear. Turn 2 is flat unless you're side by side with someone. Turn 3 up the hill. A bit of a big hairpin. It's tighter and longer than you think when you get there. Bit of wheel spin on the exit. Turn 4 is very fast. Turn 5 is a kink that just lines you up for a better line for turn 6. Big, long right hander in third gear. Gets a good exit, slipstream past Flursh. Flursh gets out of his way. Pulls back to the left of the right hander of the Sky, which is very quick, flat out if you're brave. Big braking point. Into turn 8. Big hairpin, and then you've got a left-right chicane into a tight left 90-degree corner of 9, 10 and 11. You've got 12, which is another tight corner which you always get on the throttle way too early at. Down the straight, big braking point for the first end chicane. The track kind of jumps off to the left. You've got first apex down the hill, a bit of a corkscrew section. Left right hander, double apex on the exit. Short straight, pit entry on the right. And the final corner, big hairpin. Tiny king, which is technically actually the final corner, but it's in nothing, so nobody really notices. Chris Hoy sets the fastest lap. First person into 129s is Jim Clark here, is right behind Heidfeld, so Heidfeld's issues from earlier obviously were actually a proper issue, because Clark has caught right up to him, although Heidfeld's disappeared down the straight because high-tech power. Oh, but Heidfeld's got it so wrong through turn 1 like he's been doing all race. This reminds me of Fabien Barthez at the Canadian Grand Prix last season, where he came in as championship leader and struggled with one corner specifically, that being the final chicane. Here it's a bit less pronounced for Heidfeld. He's not quite as tragically terrible, but it's not great, is it? Heidfeld just lifting off at the right point there to screw Clark over down the straight and allow Heidfeld to extend his legs out on the place where he's best, although Clark's got the grip and the downforce through the corner and has closed it all the way up back again in the braking point. Clark is, what, less than 3 tenths behind Heidfeld, make that 2 tenths? I think he could make a move here into the centre if he's not. Oh no, he's got bad exit. Heidfeld's used a lot more curb and a lot more brave. He wants that third place so he can make it, but those back marks are probably going to get in the way. We've got a yellow flag up ahead as somebody in 20th is off on the left. It's Sophia Flursh. Flursh is retired from, what's that, wherever she was, 22nd now. And look for Chelsea. So Villeneuve's got the inside of Flursh into the centre. Has she been tapped off? I found there was something gone wrong at the back. Accelerates down the straight. Oh no, she's pulled off. Something has died in that car. And she's in the gravel, so Sophia Flursh makes another retirement. It's Clark. Clark's just drives straight up the inside of Heidfeld into the final core hairpin. Yellow flag finishes and he takes it, but Heidfeld's got so much power on Clark. Much better and just sweeps up the inside by the pit wall. So Clark back up. Oh, there's contact again between Clark and Heidfeld because Heidfeld is so awful through turn 3. And once again there's contact. just going to go back and see if, yes, so Hill and Verstappen are having to make their pit stops again because they had to pit stop early. Alazy's also going to have to come in. And actually everyone else is involved in those early crashes is out. So Hill and Verstappen are going to lose time here. How much time are they going to lose? Really, it's, can they stay ahead of Taki Inui? That's the big battle for them. But we'll go back up to the front. Clark's closed right up to Heidfeld again as Alazy's getting out of the way because he's about to be lapped. But this is a really bad place to be lapped. Alazy, of course, is coming in the pits this lap as well. As Alazy's made contact with Heidfeld and made contact with Clark there and he's held up Brabham. So Alazy's not done the good books there and he's going to hold up Brabham in a really bad place. And actually, no, Brabham just gets let through. The Hill and Verstappen are falling down. They've fallen behind Inouye as they come out the pits. So Inouye up to 14th, Hill 15th, Verstappen. So Clark has another look at Heidfeld here. Heidfeld on the outside line. He's going to get split down. Hang on, sensation again. As now Alain Prost is out of the race. His engine was blown up down the back straight. So solid points on the way for Falcon of just evaporating a puff of, well, not evaporating smoke. That is combustion. Another team losing out on some big points as we get close to the end of the race. We're well into squeaky bum time, 1:37. As Heidfeld, so much power up the inside of Clark into turn 1 again. Clark trying to back it around the outside. Heidfeld's been so bad through here all race, and Clark sweeps around the outside. Jim Clark puts the Siggy Pop up into 3rd place onto the podium. Great driving there. And now, so Mansell's got past Hamilton now. Mansell up to 8th place now as Hamilton's falling back. Senna in 10th is consolation, I suppose, for Falcon. Felix da Costa up in 12th. Impressive from DTK. With the Inouye 13th, that brings Hill and Verstappen into the points. So Excelsior and NLE. Well, as it stands, not wanting to curse anything, of course, all 4 teams who didn't score points in the last round, NLE, Excelsior, DTK and Falcon, all on to score some points now. So we could, just 2 races into the season, have everybody scoring points, which would be fantastic for the championship. Inouye here is going to have to defend because Phil Hill is looking quick. He's got new tyres and he wants points. Verstappen as well is going to be like that. Team just needs to get some cars to the finish. Anything. So Chris Hoy, 5 laps to go. 5-second lead over Gasho. He's got 13 seconds back to Clark as Heidfeld, having lost out to Clark now, is really struggling as Brabham is closing in. Rossi is 12 seconds back with Moss a further 4 behind. Moss now is 12 seconds ahead of Lewis Hamilton, so having got past that pit window, Moss has shown his true pace, and yes, Moss was so much quicker than Hamilton, he just could not get past that thing on the straights. Mansell getting Jules GP up pretty high. Of course, he finished in 10th last place, but 8th would be Jules' best result. You know, he's making sure that he's beating his teammate for it. So Villeneuve in 16th is 14 seconds off some points. Fangio is close behind, and Damon Hill is nowhere. Mika Hakkinen is now 19th and getting blue flags for Jim Clark. Beloff, after assaulting Damon Hill at the centre chicane, now in 20th, John Lazy, and 21st, our last remaining runner. So Hackening's going to pull out the way quite calmly and let Jim Clark through. As we'll head back to the front because David Brabham is now getting really close to the back of Heidfeld. I say that there's a straight now, but Hakkinen might hold Heidfeld up if he gets him in the wrong place into turn 1. Heidfeld's going around the outside of Hakkinen. There's actually Hackenen's taking the apex and Heidfeld's slowed right down. Heidfeld not really being brave enough. Now Heidfeld's lost out loads of time here with Hakkinen. Oh, that was a bit close. It's Heidfeld, yeah, Heidfeld's having to come in. Heidfeld's having to come into the pits again. He obviously, I've just got another problem. Fuel. Fuel Harco's not going to make it to the end. He's going to have to pit again. So a tiny splash and dash and go for the fastest lap, I suppose, is your only hope, Nick. So I wish I'd paid attention to how much time they're losing in the pit lane, because I could try and work out what Harco's going to drop back to. Probably going to drop. He could be battling Hamilton almost. But I haven't paid any attention to any of that, so... Well, I did pay attention, but I didn't, like, look at the maths and the numbers. By the way, if you're... let's just have a look at the livery problem on the back of the... where the Petronas black Vickers on the back of the Hightech. I'll just call that out as something that... whoever's in charge of the Hightech, if you could just fix that for the next round, that'd be great, please. I think there's also that issue on the, not the CD Pop, I think it might be, let's not the CAT, it might actually be the NLE. It's got a similar problem. Yes, the HWO race car. For anyone painting cars in the future, just reference these top airbox bits, they are slightly offset, which is very annoying, but you have to live with it. Just got to notice and switch them round. So 3 laps to go. Chris Hoy's 5-second lead is looking quite comfortable. He is having to lap a few back markers, although Phil Hill's getting out of the way. It was seen quite nicely, although into the centre is not a great place to be. Gasho's second, he's looking to get a double podium. He will probably, no, almost definitely take the championship lead. It's Clark who actually finished 4th last time down. And to jump up quite high with that 3rd place. David Brabham now being released, and with Heidfeld's pit stop getting out of the way, as actually Hoyer's got past all those back markers, which is quite nice for him. Rossi up to 5th with Moss in 6th, so strong points here for Red Knight, with Moss being the lead Red Knight once again. Mansell up to 7th, although Heidfeld is closing. He's got new tyres and he was on pole, so I have a feeling Heidfeld's looking at 7th place, definitely. Hamilton in 9th and Senna's miles behind. Actually, Senna, Leclerc and Felix da Costa having starting to have a bit of a battle here. What can Felix do with Leclerc and Senna? Phil Hill up to 13th now, having who's ahead of him that's dropped back. Villeneuve's getting a bit light on fuel. Or whatever. Hill is 13th, Verstappen's 14th, and Inouye is down to 15th, so actually they've both got past him. Villeneuve is dropping back as Villeneuve is slowing right down. Villeneuve slows right down, I think, to let Brabham through. And he's light on fuel himself, so could Villeneuve be on the verge of running out of fuel? Actually, there's a yellow flag as someone's 7th place. Who's that off? It's Mansell! No, it's Nigel Mansell! Nigel Mansell has pulled off in the infield. What's happened here? Oh, it's up to turn 2. He's pulled off on the way into turn 3. He's hit the wall and bang! Oh, that's a big hit. He's actually skidded a long way across the track. Mansell has skidded all the way from turn 3 pretty much down to the extra turn 8, so he's skidded across. That is unfortunate. I mean, look, you can see he went off at turn 3 and he skidded across, yeah, one bit of track. Luckily he didn't collect anyone. Yeah, look, so his brakes have gone, I think. Looking at all that, he's just lost it. Brakes have gone, it's not wanting to stop, and he just scraped through. There's no walls protecting him on that way through there. Yep, we'll get this count, we'll get the helicopter view. Look at that, he's just missed the pole star. He's trying to stop it, but he doesn't want to stop. And he is lucky that he hasn't skidded all the way to the extra turn 8. But there we go, so Leclerc now having a battle with Senna here. So So Leclerc and Senna on the extra turn 6. Side by side. Senna up the inside, Leclerc on the outside. And Felix da Costa's thinking, can I join in the fun? Felix da Costa having a look at the inside of Ascari. As Leclerc on the outside line, being forced wide by Senna, Felix da Costa's run wide with Leclerc. And Senna holds on for another lap. Villeneuve is coming in this lap. He obviously needs to splash and dash, so it's not gone well for him. Heidfeld has got past Hamilton. No, it was Mansell who was catching, I think, before he... So, I don't remember, I'm very sorry. Moss has caught right up to Rossi here, so the battle for 5th is not over. Battle for 5th is certainly still a thing. And Gasho's Hoy's just got... Well, at the end of when he crosses the line here, he's got 1 lap to go. Gasho 5 seconds behind is looking quite comfortable in second as Clark has got past everyone he needs to in terms of back markers. Brabham's got a couple ahead of him, but he can probably stay there. As it's this way, it's Moss versus Rossi, and then Senna, Leclerc, Felix da Costa battle for 9th place. These are the important ones now. Not as close as it was last time. As Newey's getting a light on fuel, so might he run out of fuel? Or will he make it to the end? Hopefully he'll make it, but Hoy's got half a lap to go. So here we go. Moss up on Rossi. Is closing, really closing here as Moss gets close to Rossi, but it's not enough on the inside of turn 1. They have the same power in these two cars as Heidfeld sets the fastest lap. Rossi's got the high downforce, which should help him through this section of the track, but should help Moss down the straights because he's got less drag. So Moss has really just got 1 attempt left. He's on the last lap. Brabham watches as somebody's gone off up ahead of him. Who's that just pulled off? No one pulled off? No, I think there's somebody in 17th or something just ran wide. Why did it mean Fangio? Oh, so Fangio's trying to let... Oh, he's locked up! Oh, he's made it to the wall. He's just made it to the wall, but he's got out of there. So he's trying to let the Polestar through. But up at the front, he's never won a race before. He nearly won in Imola, but Chris Hoy for DTK Racing wins the 2nd round of the season. Here at Buenos Aires, the Argentinian Grand Prix, Hoy takes the win ahead of Bertrand Gachot in 2nd place. Jim Clark is going to cross the line to take 3rd place, his first podium of the season, with Siggy Pop. Clark takes 3rd. Brabham, he's going to come across the line in 4th place, make it 2 Polestars in the top 4. They are going to be looking very strong in the Constructors' Championship now. Rossi and Moss, it's close across the line here. Moss has got speed, but he doesn't quite have enough. Rossi takes 5th ahead of Moss. Heidfeld, pole sitter, is going to come across the line in 7th. He could have had a lot better if it weren't for that mid-race error. He takes fastest lap at the end. Lewis Hamilton's going to take 8th for Cass Racing. There it could have been for the team, but no, it wasn't to be. Ayrton Senna up 19 places from the back of the grid into 9th place. This is an absolutely incredible drive from Senna. He managed to hold off Leclerc and Felix da Costa as they come across the line 10th and 11th respectively. There we are, Phil Hill, a lap down, he scores Excelsior Racing's first points. Makes up for the mess that him and Gurney and Andretti had last season for Excelsior here. Verstappen, defending champion, gets some points in 13th place. Taki Inoue takes 14th for Cass Racing, and Damon Hill gets his first points of the season. George GP, last driver across the race in the points. Stefan Beloff misses out on points in the Brevera. Ramon Fangio, home driver, comes across the line in 17th. Hakkinen takes 18th, Villeneuve 19th, a lazy 20th is our last one. The retirements for Nigel Mansell, Alain Prost, Sophia Flörsch, Kobayashi, Michael Schumacher, John Watson, Sebastian Vettel, Sergio Perez, Jenson Button, and Dan Gurney. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this race. Actually, I think Ayrton has blown up after the checkered flag. If you're going to blow up, this is the time to do it, I suppose. Yep, so I hope you've enjoyed the race. If you have, please feel free to like and subscribe. You know, put some nice things in the comments. Put some slander in the comments if you think it was a bit crap. I don't care, as long as it's constructive or actual criticism. I'm fine with it. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the championship, please come along to the thread on RaceDepartment. Like some of my posts, get involved, say that you're a fan and you enjoy the series, and you know, reply to everything. Tell me what you've liked about the season so far. And if you're really up for it, come and join. You know, there's always space on the grid for anyone. I mean, 32 is the maximum cars that will actually race, and we only have 32 at the moment, so we only have 30 at the moment, so come and join us. So yeah, this has been round 2 of season 2 of Global Formula Automobilista. Hope you've enjoyed. Chris Hoy's taking the win, and I will see you next time for the Italian Grand Prix. Goodbye.